Hey everyone, this is Uncle Reddit. Welcome to r/IDontWorkHereLady, where irate customers mistake other customers for employees. Please subscribe and hit that like button. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy. Our next post comes to us from you, Captain Crud. What's the magic word? Sorry about format, on mobile. I was in Target wandering around waiting for my sister to get off work. I usually walk her home when she works late at Target. It's only a few blocks, but it's dark outside and you never know what may happen. I'm checking out the prices on hockey jerseys when an older man tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around and he asked me if I know where the socks are. I pointed and told him where, and he thanked me and walked away. The gentleman returned and asked if I could help find the proper price because they were strewn all over. Sir, could you please help me? I would appreciate it very much. Sure, no problem, I said. We walked to the footwear aisle and looked to find the proper price. He thanked me and went on his merry way. A minute or two, an older woman comes to me and says, "May I bother you for some help?" I said sure, and asked what she needed. "Would it be too much of a bother if you could help me with these storage bins? I need two, please." I reached and put the bins in her cart. She thanked me and left. This happened a few more times and I thought nothing about it. And then it happened. A bony finger poking me in my back. I turned around, and standing behind me was the atypical Karen. A resting face that looked like she walked off a Facebook meme. Hair and all, and smelling as if a vat of lavender fell on her. "Come with me and help me now." I told her no, and she started tapping her foot. "I said help me now, mister." Once again I said no. "Listen, Buster, you better help me now or else." "Or else what?" "Or else I'll get your manager," she hissed. And that's when I said those all too familiar words. "Ma'am, I don't work here." No long drawn out arguments, just, then why bother helping if you don't? It's called being kind, helping others who need it. Besides, you didn't say the magic words. With a deep sigh, okay then, what are the magic words? Ma'am, if you have to ask at your age, you're beyond my help. I saw my sister walking down the aisle to the exit and caught up with her. All I could do was sigh. My sister asked what was going wrong and I just said, "I'll explain when we get home." I know that was anticlimactic. It's just a little story of how little manners go a long way. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Peace. Our next post comes to us from Zakin534. I've given you my money, now do your job. Sir, you're not our customer. This is not a clear-cut "I don't work here, lady" story. However, it's about a man who refused to believe that he was not our customer. I work for one of the largest Scandinavian airlines at check-in desks. I encounter some of humanity's worst on a daily basis, but this one in particular stood out to me. It started when I noticed that my coworker at the desk next to me was being berated by this older man. There were no passengers waiting to be checked in at the time, so I ended up listening in on the conversation. In a strangely calm tone, this man was letting out a steady stream of accusations mixed in with total nonsense. "Man, I will be contacting all the newspapers and let them know all about how you are scamming people out of their money. This is your responsibility to fix, so you will have to fix it." Coworker: "I'm very sorry, however, due to this ticket, man, I gave you my money, so you're going to fix this." This conversation kept looping pretty much exactly like this, over and over, without my coworker ever getting enough time to explain the problem to the passenger, without being cut off. I quietly asked coworker if he needs me to call for a supervisor, but to my surprise, he responded that everything was going great with a grin on his face. With me butting into the conversation, it finally created enough room for my coworker to finally explain to the passenger what the problem was. Coworker: "Sir, you are traveling with R Air, established Irish low-budget airline. We work for S Air. What would you like us to do?" Without hesitation, the older man continues to tell coworker off. "Man, it is S Air that got my money, so it is your people who are going to fix my ticket." Coworker: "There is nothing we can do with this ticket, as it is for a different airline that we have no affiliation with. If you want our help, you will have to visit our ticket office." He points in the direction of the ticket office. "Man, I've already given you my money. Why would I give you even more?" At this point, it's been over 20 minutes of this, and both me and coworker are starting to get fed up by this man's antics, and I walk around to the counter to stand next to the man. I gesture towards the ticket office, and as politely yet forcefully as I possibly could, I shut down the conversation by telling them that there is nothing we can do for him at the check-in counter, and that he will have to go to the ticket office for help. He grumpily starts walking towards the office while continuously telling us how bad at our job we are. And that was the end of it. Or so I thought. About an hour passes by, and I've switched over to helping people out with the self-check-in machines. I'm having a conversation with my supervisor about nothing of any importance, when suddenly the man returns. He immediately makes a beeline to my supervisor and starts his rambling again, with the only addition from the previous rambling being him telling her how he had apparently managed to talk to the boss, he made air quotes as he said this, about something. He started to become illegible at this point, but pretty much regurgitated the conversation we had earlier. My supervisor immediately realizes what kind of situation it was, and pretty much ended up ignoring him, helping another passenger who was an actual customer of ours, leaving him to continue complaining to the only other worker there, me. Man, this is nothing personal towards you, but... And the previous beratements continue on loop again, with another addition that airlines should not be allowed to sell tickets through mobile apps, and that he is going to contact politicians about it to change the rules, and that he's going to speak to the president of S-Air, so that he, the president of S-Air, can talk to the president of R-Air, so that he, the president of R-Air, had to speak to his employees about how to treat their customers. Again, everyone he's spoken to up until this point works for S-Air. Turns out this man had bought a ticket with R-Air through a travel agency without checking which airport the departure was from. The airport I work at does not have any R-Air departures or arrivals at all. This man was at the wrong airport, demanding us to check him in at a different airline, refusing to believe us when we told him he's not our customer. In the end, he ended up just leaving. The funny thing is, he was only going to Copenhagen, which there are many very easy ways to get to. He ended up spending almost 2 hours at the wrong airport, telling us to do someone else's job, when if he had just bought another plane ticket or gotten on a much cheaper train, he would have been well on his way by then. Holy crap. I don't know if I'd ever want to run into somebody like that. They're just too dense. You can't even, it's just circles. That's all you do is you go in circles. Our next post comes to us from You Floating Cacti 258, meeting a Karen at the hospital. Hello Reddit, I'm a fairly new member and just found this sub and would like to share my story after reading a few here. Sorry if my layout formatting is wrong. Backstory. A good few years ago, I worked in X hospital. At the time, my old gran was in Y hospital and I decided to visit her after work. After work at X hospital, I decided to go visit my sweet old gran. So I zipped up my hoodie to not be confused as a worker for Y hospital, so much for that. When I got to her usual room, I found a different gran. Turns out they moved my gran to a different wing as she is doing much better, so I hoofed it to the other direction. On my way there, I was stopped by a wild Karen, and 2 teens, and dad in tow. Karen: excuse me, do you know where the patient blank is? Me: I'm sorry ma'am, I don't work here, I work at... Karen: you clearly do, you're wearing scrubs. Me: I'm sorry, I actually don't work here. I work at X hospital. Karen blinks twice. Are you seriously just trying to get out of working right now? That's so unprofessional. I'm just trying to find my mother. Now if you point me in the right direction, we don't need to escalate this further. Me: I'm sorry, but I can't legally help you, but there's a help desk. Random nurse passing by. Hello, how may I help you, ma'am? Karen: this so-and-so is trying to get out of working and not helping me. I want to speak to his supervisor. Nurse, turning to me. What department are you in? Me: I don't work here. Karen's husband: liar, you clearly are wearing the same uniform. Nurse, looking at my badge. Oh, I'm so sorry. Turning to the family. He actually doesn't work here. Karen's husband: now don't you start. Don't cover up for him. Both of us looking bewildered at the family. Wild charge nurse / head nurse. What's going on? Karen: this blank refuses to help, and this blank is covering for him. What kind of place is this? Charge nurse: he don't work here. Look at his badge. He works at X hospital. Karen: are you kidding me? I want to speak with both of your superiors. Charge nurse: I'm sorry, I don't have his supervisor's number since he doesn't work here. Reasonable child: Mom, Dad, you do know we are at Y hospital, right? This guy works at X hospital. Karen and husband connecting the dots. Me: have a pleasant day. P.S. Grandma's doing fine and chuckling every time the story comes up, and said if she was still at that wing, she'd get out of the hospital bed and would have mannered that Karen some. I bet she would, OP. I got a grandma, or had a grandma just like that. She didn't take no guff. One time she even chased an alligator away from the bank of her house with a broom. Our next story comes to us from You Cheese-Making Mom. He's my son, not your ride. This happened a few years ago and features Son, my son, Wild Karen, a Karen fresh from her commute home, me tired after a long day at work commuting home, Karen's ride, hint, not my son. I commute to and from work, and had arranged Son to pick me up when my train arrived at the end of my day. He drives his 15-year-old beige Toyota to the pickup lane, and almost immediately a Wild Karen steps in front of me to open the passenger door. Son is 19 at the time, and was, and still is, fairly sheltered. "Excuse me, this is my car." Wild Karen, "Ree! No, that's my ride, B. And I'm not ride sharing. You just back off and get your own ride." Me, "I think you're making a mistake." Wild Karen, No, this is my car." And she opens the passenger side door. Me, hollering over Wild Karen, screeching, "Hi, sweetheart, did you sign up for a ride and forget to tell me?" Son, visibly confused at the Karen who is clearly not his mom entering the car. No? Wild Karen, "This car is a mess. There's trash all over the floor and it's not clean at all. I'm going to give you a bad rating." Me, "Actually, he's..." Wild Karen, "You just shut up, will you? And boy, take me home." Son, "Miss, I'm not..." Wild Karen, "Ree! Take me now, or I'm calling the police." Me, "Please do. You're carjacking my son. He's not going anywhere." Son, having shut down the vehicle and removed the key from the ignition, smart kid, "Hey Mom, maybe you can take that car," pointing to a dark new Honda that had just pulled up into the pickup ahead of us. "Home, if she'll pay me in cash." Wild Karen, "I'm calling the police. I've already paid. You can't demand additional money from me." Me, "No problem. By the way, what's the license plate number on your car?" Wild Karen, looking, "It's 8ABC123, and clearly is this vehicle. Driver, go." Son, Miss, if you look at the car in front of us." Wild Karen, "Ree!" Me, tired of this and wanting to go home. B, "Get the H out of my car. This is my son, clearly not your ride. So get the H out of my car." Wild Karen, "I can't believe you talk to me that way. Do you know who I am?" Me, "I certainly do. You are a delusional old hag who can't tell the difference between a beige Toyota and a dark Honda. Look at the plate and get the F out of my car." Wild Karen, "Well, I never." Me, "I'm going to count to 3 before I push the call button on 911. 1. Wild Karen, "I can't believe you'd threaten me like that." Me, 2. Wild Karen, "I don't believe this. What?" Karen's ride, yelling to the great outdoors, "Is there a Wild Karen here? I'm your ride, and it's been almost 5 minutes. I'm going to leave and report this as a no-show." Wild Karen, "Well, it's about time you showed up." Son, ... Me, Karen's ride. Wild Karen, getting out of Son's car with all the grace of a newborn giraffe. "I have a mind to report you for your tardiness. I've had to wait here almost a half hour for you, you lazy, worthless..." The car door closes and Son and I are simply astounded. The license plate on the dark Honda ride was 8ABC123. The license plate on that beige Toyota was 4DEF987. The entire encounter lasted possibly 3 minutes. Edit, I'm in my mid-50s, 5'2", naturally graying hair, and in a uniform. Wild Karen is about my age, bottle blonde, Karen hairdo, acrylic nails, denying all that nature bestows upon women of a certain age. Whoa, talk about total delusion. But I love it, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this. Oh, and Mr. Reddit, no disrespect meant. I see that "re" going on in any post that I read, and I just gotta try to make a noise of my own. I can't do it nearly as well as you do, so I hope you don't get offended that I tried my own little twist on it. Our next post comes to us from You Peaches13185. "My son doesn't work here, lady. I got one. It's an ongoing situation and I need to vent. I'm a shift manager at a small but very popular general goods store. We live nearby, so yesterday my son walked there after school to get some snacks. He's 15, over 6 foot tall, and a really good kid. Anyway, I was working the sky shelves, pulling back stock off the very top shelf to restock regular shelves, when he stopped by to chat before shopping. A little old lady came into the aisle, looked at the shelf, and asked me if we had more tomato juice. I was on a step stool facing away from the juices, but my son looked up, saw what she needed, and pulled it from the sky shelf for her. After all the "what a nice boy" comments, he starts to leave, but another lady, whom I know well, stops him with an obnoxious, "I need you to come with me." I ask, "What can I help her with?" To which she replies, "I was talking to him. I need to borrow your trainee." I say, "He doesn't work here, but I can help you," and step down from my stool. "He's not going to learn if you don't tell him to handle things on his own," she insisted. "Gertrude, he doesn't work here. This is my son. I'll get whatever you need though." She huffs and says, "Never mind," before waddling off. The entire time my son is just standing there like a deer in the headlights. He decides to hang out until after Gertrude leaves, which she did, abandoning her cart in the aisle. Now, Gertrude is a sour-faced old biddy we've had problems with before. She likes to boss our new people around. I have no idea why. And I'm pretty protective of my kid, even if he is bigger than me. So I was firm with her. I should have seen it coming. I got a call from my boss this morning. Gertrude filed a complaint with corporate saying that our staff was rude, refused to help her, and embarrassed her in front of the entire store to the point that she left humiliated without even finishing her shopping. Before I could tell the story, my boss asked, "What the H is she talking about? A trainee? We don't have any new people." I laughed and told her the entire story. So now my boss has to convince the district manager that this lady is just an ankle and not to take the complaint seriously. But I'm sure we'll end up having to do some sort of customer service recovery for it, because that's what generally happens where I work. Ugh. I could just picture this Karen waddling off. Waddle, 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 waddle. Alright everyone, I hope you're having a great day and that you've enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. And keep a lookout for more of these little gems from Reddit. So long!